So, once again, hey everybody, this is Ben from the PB and Gainz podcast. This is episode 10, and pretty excited about all this. We are moving forward with everything in a really big way, and so I wanted to do this episode. I'm periscoping this as well, so hello to everybody on Periscope. And what I wanted to talk about in today's episode was recapping our previous 10 and really busting into a little bit of reality, and then I have a really, really badass book recommendation that I want to give you guys. And so what I want to start out with is recapping the great things and the great moments that we've had in these first 10, I guess 9 sessions, 10 would be today. And so we've talked to gym owners, former NFL athletes, and then George Bryant, who is the cooking caveman who does a lot of mindset type stuff. And he does a great blog, and he really spoke to us about authenticity. And that is the main thing I wanted to talk about today because it's such a impactful part, and I think it should be the basis of everything that we do is to be authentic and vulnerable. And with that, we can then build on something because if we kind of have this bravado aspect of what we do and we try and craft this image and it's not authentic, then this, the house is going to fall upon itself. So we wanted to make sure that we do something that really includes authenticity, and we got George on, and that was fantastic. We also had a friend of mine, Jordan Pugh, NFL athlete, and he did a wonderful talk on fear and overcoming fear, and that's a huge challenge as well for a lot of people. And so when you look at fear, if that fear of what might happen, whether that's good, bad, or in between, and to say that you're afraid of accomplishing that goal because you're afraid of something, man, that can be overwhelming. And I know I've suffered from that. I was always the guy that would never really put in that much effort, and I would stop at something because I was afraid. It's like, what if I failed? Well, it'd be a lot easier if I didn't try. And I know a lot of you guys have that same thing. It's cooking healthy. What if I do try and make that change and I cook healthy, and then over time I don't lose weight? I failed. No, you didn't fail. You might have just done something a little bit different. Maybe you just needed to take a little bit longer, and you needed to have a little bit more persistence, and you could have stayed with it, and then you might have achieved that goal. And so fear was a big thing with Jordan. That was great. Another one with a gym owner, Brent Gallagher, who owns Avenue Fitness, which is the place that I work, and he spoke to us about time and legacy. And these were really, really impactful conversations that we had with him. And I mean, we have them on a weekly basis here. But when talking to him, it became clear that when you look at the regrets of the dying, the number one regret was living a life for somebody else. And so, I'm going to change this Periscope here, but it's living a life for somebody else and not living authentically, which then led perfectly into George. And that's why we had George come on and do a great talk on authenticity, because those two seem to go back to back perfectly. And definitely go and check out these past episodes and really get something impactful from them, and then let us know what you think, because we're trying to bring more of these people on. And I have a really cool announcement is that next week, Wednesday, tomorrow, the 11th, we'll have this episode. The next week, the 18th, I have Stupid Easy Paleo, Steph Gaudreau, coming on, and we have a really great talk with her lined up that I think you're really going to get a lot out of. So these past 10 episodes, including today's, have been really impactful, not only for hopefully you guys, but for us as well to do them, because for us, it was a fear of, do we move forward? Do we do something like this? Do we make a change in our lives to help you guys? And so from a state of gratitude, I just wanted to say thank you for listening to these past 9 episodes and recommending them to friends, passing them along, whatever it is you've been doing. I just wanted to say thank you. And I know I passed those sentiments along from David as well. So moving forward, on a cool note here, what do we have going on? Like I said, next episode we have Steph Gaudreau from Stupid Easy Paleo talking about cooking mindset, body issues, and really overcoming that. That's going to be next week. And then moving forward, we have kettlebell instructors, and then I'm going to keep a few of them a surprise, but I think you're really going to enjoy them, and I can't wait to put them out just like I do every single week. So it's coming at you with a mindset challenge. Is that we're going to challenge you on a few of these things, and I want you to get outside yourself a bit and think about how you can become a more impactful person, not only for yourself, but your immediate friends and family, because that's ultimately how we're going to change the city and the world. So getting into today's podcast, I've been reading a book. I've read it a couple times and recommend it to a lot of people, and it is You Are a Badass. Now, that seems like to be a really cool title, and that's what drew me to it is, when someone tells me that I'm a badass, I'm like, thank you. It's very kind of you. And when a book tells me, I'm like, all right, I'll buy you. You got me. And so it's called You're a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. So I was introduced to her, I think, via the Underground Wellness podcast. And so it's a great book, bright yellow. You really can't miss it. And it's totally different. If you like self-help type books, then you like sarcasm, you like witty humor, this book is for you, along with some actual great tidbits of information that can improve your life. And so what I want to talk about and focus on in one of these, or a couple of these quotes that they took from here, which really parallel great with our talk of authenticity and vulnerability. One of the quotes is from Albert Einstein, who is she quotes, an awesomist. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. And that quote really spoke out to me, and I can imagine for a few of you guys that hits pretty hard, because I've always had this conversation, and I talk about it with my wife in a great deal, that our reality is what we craft out of it, what we make it, because my reality is different than hers. We live in the same house. We each have the same daughter, but these things change because I see life so differently than she does, and she sees life so differently than I do. And I can imagine with you as well, the listener and the people watching on Periscope, is that when you have conversations with people and you give your opinion or your point of view, and they come back at you with something totally different, it's just crazy how we can each take these things and just be on total opposite sides of the spectrum. Or one comment gets made and we each take it a totally different way. We're crafting our reality, and in turn that impacts our health. And so when you think about it and you boil it down to how do we, what kind of self-talk do we have that we put out into the world? What kind of image are we putting out there? We're building this reality. If we kind of go to the whole mode of like, oh, woe is me, terrible, terrible me, I can't do this, this sucks, I'll never be good enough. Well, guess what? In your mind, you're never going to be good enough. People are going to feed off of that, whether you think it's going to happen or not. And I really just wanted to bring that quote and start out with that from the book, because I've definitely done that. Like I said, I was the guy that when it comes to failure, you'd get to that point, you're like, I just don't know, I don't want to fail. And so for me, it always became the guy who did just enough, but never too much that I could really grow and prosper from. And I always stayed the same. And it's like, well, why am I not getting better? It's like, because I never challenged myself. In the weight room in football, I never would work out to the full capacity. I didn't really care much to work out. And so I always wondered why am I not seeing the strength or the gains that I'm really trying to get? Well, guess what? If you don't challenge yourself, because the reality that you're presenting is, I'm okay here, I'm not going to push forward, I'm not going to put more weight on the bar and attempt it, because if I fail, that's going to suck. People are going to laugh at me. I'm going to look stupid in the squat rack. Whatever it is, like I said, we used the healthy cooking aspect earlier. It's like, what if I try all these things and it doesn't work? I failed. And then you can watch your world crumble from that point. And so what I wanted to do is to say that you craft your own reality. You project an image, and then you own your image. And there's no other way to put that other than that, is to say that you are you. And that seems like, well, no shit. But I'm trying to tell you is that you are the person that you project. And if you project a sad, mopey person, nobody wants to be around that guy, right? You know that depressed guy. I've been that depressed guy in the corner, and the people at work call me out. My boss says it every now and then. Like, hey, dude, you're not really yourself. You're kind of down. Can you just sit in the back? What? But that's who I'm projecting out. The reality that I am projecting and I'm presenting is a sad one, and therefore people respond to me like that. And if you go through, a couple days, great. It happens. I understand that. We each suffer from those bouts. But when it becomes a week, a month, a year, a lifetime, nobody wants to be around you. You become the person that, like, hey, you're always like that. I don't want to hang out. Or they might not call you. Or whatever it is, you're not going to find the love of your life. I don't know. Whatever that relates to you, that's important. And so I just really wanted to hit on that quote is you get to create your reality. You get to craft your life, your world. And going back to Brent's podcast where we talked about not living a life for somebody else, but living it authentically for you, do it. And create a reality that you are happy with. Now, there's going to be some things that you have to do, obviously job-wise, if you're in a relationship, meeting halfway, all that good stuff, or 3/4 of the way, as some of you know. Just doing these things, it's huge, and it's largely important and impactful. But what I really want to say is create a reality you love, you enjoy, and that can change your life for the better. So that is quote 1 that I'm going to talk about. Quote 2 is Andre Gide. I don't know if I'm saying that right, or Guide. He's a French author, Nobel Prize winner, and fearless self-explorer, according to Jen. And the quote is, "It is better to be hated for what you are than to be loved for what you are not." Now, that one was like a total truth bomb, steal a Sean Croxton word there, in my mind, because if I'm authentic and I'm coming forward and people aren't going to agree with me, that means I'm living my truth. If I'm going through, I'm like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. And really in my mind, every single time I say that, I hate what it is you're saying or doing, and I'm agreeing with it and going along with you just because I feel I don't want conflict or don't want to make you mad or upset. And people love me for being the yes man, when really we need no people in our lives. That's key. And I really, like, that one spoke to me in such a powerful way, because there's times when I feel like I'm not doing what's right for me. I'm doing what's right for everybody else because I don't like conflict. That's when someone presents me as that, I kind of shrink up. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, that's fine. And I want to be somebody that is going to come out and challenge others. And I think we all have those moments. And we get that a lot from a clientele perspective when it comes to moms and doing what's right for the kids, and then doing what's right for their husband, and not necessarily worrying about themselves. And I think I can project that out into a greater image to say that what if you're the mom? What if you're the caretaker? What if you're the person who is truly putting everyone else first? And they're, saying yes to everything. Yes, oh, my kid can do this. Yes, I'll take you to go do this. And just because you don't want conflict, and they love you for it, but in turn you hate yourself. And then when you go to bed, that's what weighs on you at night. When you do these things, like, it's the sad, dark times at night, or whenever it is you're by yourself, that you just fret and you're like, man, this sucks. I don't want to do this. I'm going to dread this next thing that I'm going to be doing. And that can say a ton, and it speaks volumes about us. So if internally we can take care of that to make sure that we are challenging ourselves and doing things and challenging other people, because if you surround yourself with, like I said, a bunch of yes people, and if you're a yes person, you always the whole group is like, oh yeah, sure, and nobody wants to do any of these things, it's not going to work out. If you're in a relationship, if you're married, I've learned this in a big way, that you have to say no. Other people have to tell you no, and you have to be okay with that, because maybe they're doing you a favor. Maybe you're doing them a favor. You're helping them from themselves. And it's better to, for people not to like you on every now and then because you challenge them to make them better, than if we all just go around and say, sure, sounds great. And then you watch them, wreck their lives, or wreck your life in turn. So, there's those marriages where you sit and you're together for years. You hate each other. You don't talk. You're miserable, and you're just doing it just because. You're not being authentic, and you're not speaking your own mind, and you're not doing these things that are going to challenge somebody to be a better person, and in turn challenge yourself. Because when we help other people, we grow. When we help ourselves, they grow. It's this crazy thing, and it really benefits each other. So those two quotes, really spoke volumes to me, and they all go back to George's podcast about being authentic and being vulnerable enough to be authentic. And so that was episode 9, so our last one. If you are listening to this for the first time, the PB and Gainz podcast for the first time, go check out episode 9. Man, it was impactful beyond belief, and can't thank George enough for having him on our show. So now, finish this bad boy off, the book review. You Are a Badass. Boom, everybody's watching on Periscope. I'm showing a picture. And this book, like I said, it really helped me out, because I'm a very lighthearted, sarcastic, I like to think of myself every now and then as funny, and a person. And when you read all these self-help books, or growth books, they're really dry and boring. It's like you go through them and you're like, oh yeah, I should set goals for myself that are reasonable. And then they tell you, like, 5 minutes a day, when in here she drops F-bombs and does things that really kind of catch you off guard and disrupt your thinking. So if our model here at Avenue, especially on the podcast, is we want to disrupt your way of thinking. This book fits perfectly into that. So it's a really funny book, and so it helps you understand why you are the way you are, how you can then grow in doing these things that can change your life, and like I said, and other people's lives. Like part 5 is how to kick some ass. And if you can't get if you can't get excited about reading that chapter, then you really should go pick up one of those really dry, boring self-help books. So that is today's podcast. That is episode 10 of the PB and Gainz show. You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, Spreaker. We're trying to reach as many people as possible. So we're really, truly trying to impact our small community here, growing into Houston, and then changing the lives of everybody that we come in contact with through disruption. And so I hope you guys have enjoyed these first 10 episodes. It's been an honor to be able to speak to you guys, and I'm so pumped about everything we have coming and moving forward, because it's as great as it is to say these last 10 episodes have been so much fun. What we have in front of us is so much bigger and so much better than anything I could have ever imagined when we first recorded that one podcast in a closet, much like I am now, but it seems a little bit roomier closet. And so I just wanted to say thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoy everything we're doing. If you want to find more information about us, we have a YouTube page, or just search PB and Gainz on YouTube. You can find avenuefit.com, AVENU fit.com. We're going to have the RSS feed up there so you can catch us. Pinterest, Avenue Fitness. We have a Pinterest page now, so I put all the podcasts up there. We're trying to reach you guys as many ways as possible. If you have any feedback you would love to give, hit us with it, because we're trying to grow just like you are and gain something new every single day, and we can't do that without your help. Pass these along to people you think might need them, friends, family, coworkers. Make this world better. So I'm going to leave on that note. Thank you guys very much for listening, for watching on Periscope, and said here's to the next 150 episodes. See you guys.